Hi, I'm Luminousz and welcome to the channel. All of you who are current subscribers, thank you so much for your subscription. Thank you for motivating me and inspiring me to keep this channel active. Our community, our channel, our star family is growing, it's expanding. It's starting off right in this 2018. I just want to share that with my stars. All of you who are visiting for the first time, why don't you join us as we grow? And hit that subscription button below. All right, today's video is breaking free from the cult-like dysfunctional family. This is going to be pretty tough for some of us to do because some of us have just started by going no contact. So again, we're going to be talking about breaking free from the cult-like dysfunctional family, especially when there's a narcissist in the family. If there's a cluster B personality or a narcissist in the family. That's today's video. Don't forget to like and share this video. Also, mind the description box below where you will find more details such as the references and resources to today's video. Okay, having said all that, stay tuned for the video. I'm Luminousz and I wish you the very best. Breaking free from the cult-like dysfunctional narcissistic family. Let's go. Hi, I'm Luminousz. Welcome to my channel, Luminousz. For you guys and gals who are current subscribers, wait for it. Thank you so much for being my stars. It is you who keep me motivated to keep this channel active. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. You guys and gals, you share your stories. You leave some awesome comments, and I really appreciate this because when you share your story, you are absolutely helping other people on the planet. Just want you to know that. For you guys and gals who are visiting Luminousz for the first time, welcome to the Luminousz, and why don't you join the Luminousz family by hitting that subscription button below. Also below, you will find a disclaimer in the description box. Please read the information in the description box. There's a disclaimer that states that today's video will have images as well as information that some viewers will absolutely find disturbing, okay? And having said that, today's video is about narcissistic parents who run the dysfunctional family like a cult leader. I'm going to get into thought reform programs, and I'm going to give you a little bit of background of what cults are, okay? So again, mind the description box below where the disclaimer is, and for those of you who will remain and watch this video today, thank you for your purchase in advance, thank you for your donations, and also thank you for your time. I'm Luminousz. Enjoy the video.
The malignant narcissist has a desire deep down of bringing down other people in a way that they feel brought down. And that leads to extremes.
According to Kilduff's research, people were working inhumane hours, often 7 days a week, on the temple's various programs. At the temple itself, members were forced to confess to fabricated crimes for which they would be given vicious beatings. Ex-members asserted even children were being abused in this way. According to their descriptions, Jones was a classic cult leader, using spirituality to exert power psychologically and sexually over his cult.
Children, very often, parents who either have a narcissistic personality disorder or they have a cluster B personality, what often happens is that they will groom their children either to develop a narcissistic personality disorder or a cluster B personality, or they're going to groom that child to become a person who grows up to behave codependently. Narcissists have a sixth sense about which child to choose to be a safe victim for their supply. So what the narcissist does is they break that child down more by sexually molesting them. Female narcissists usually have a very strange relationship with their sons while seemingly choosing to their daughters to scapegoat. Okay, so while some female narcissists who have sons especially the eldest son. She tends to choose the eldest son to have sexual relationships with, while she seemingly chooses the eldest daughter to scapegoat. Examples of how male narcissists use sex as a weapon. Going over to the left side. During sexual intercourse, male narcissists receive supply by giving their sexual partners everything that they do not like about themselves. Just like I was saying in the previous slide, you know, female narcissist, she's scoping out every aspect in the partner, the sexual partner that she has for source of supply. All their weaknesses, all their fears, you know, everything about them that she can use as a source of supply. During the sex act, her sense is heightened. Her sense of prowling and becoming being a predator is heightened, as well as a male narcissist.
Cults share certain defining characteristics. In a cult, leaders recruit members through deceptive techniques that rob them of their identity and individuality. Experts have termed these techniques thought reform.
Thought reform is a systematic effort which has two stages.
The term brainwashing is a popular term describing what's classically called a thought reform program. And all those terms mean that a person or an organization has put into place a coordinated program of coercive influence and behavior control.
Now, I think this is satanic. The purpose of this is to cleanse the group as a whole by sacrificing the scapegoat. This is seen within the dysfunctional family headed by the narcissist as a righteous, guys, pinpoint that word righteous, because I'm going to make a point about that, as a righteous thing to do, while also possibly obtaining a life of narcissistic supply. It is perhaps from the perspective of the dysfunctional family that the scapegoat is not an individual who possesses a heart, a mind, a spirit, a higher consciousness, or even a soul. The scapegoat is devalued within the dysfunctional family. So basically, guys, what we have here is the child who was pinpointed, unfortunately, to be the scapegoat. Not only are they devalued, but within that devaluation, they are demonized by other family members within the dysfunctional family. And this is headed by the narcissistic parent.
Thought reform is a systematic effort which has two stages. One is the breakdown stage with heavy confession and a breakdown of one's own psychic integrity. And then there's the second stage, which is re-education, trying to remake a person into a new person.
Earth, our home, incubator of life.
The unhealthy relationship with a narcissist and cluster B personality is not your typical unhealthy relationship. Well, the same goes for the dysfunctional family, whereas there is a narcissist or a cluster B personality. So this is not your typical dysfunctional family. There's more twists and turns. There's more diabolical acts. There's also more tactics for source supply that go on in the dysfunctional family, whereas there is a narcissistic parent or a parent who has a cluster B personality. When there is a dysfunctional family headed by two parents who have either a narcissistic personality or a cluster B personality, one of those spouses or one of those parents is going to be either a covert narcissist while the other one is an overt narcissist. I'm not going to say it's never happened. I've never known for two people to become romantically involved who both have a cluster B or a narcissistic personality to be of the same type. In other words, both of them are covert narcissists and both of them are overt narcissists. I've never known that. And I'm not going to say that that does not exist. It's just that from my personal experience, I've never known that. But when we have a dysfunctional family and there is a parent who has a narcissistic personality or a cluster B personality, again, the tactics for source supply tend to be a little bit more diabolical, because now you have children in the family, or I'll say usually there's children in the family. The narcissists, they're very good at orchestrating phantoms. The phantoms are the shell of the dysfunctional family members. No one in that family is really having a real, authentic connection. Everybody seems to be off in their own corners, and when the fighting bell goes off, they come out swinging. This is why I also say that in your dysfunctional families, when it comes to the narcissist heading the dysfunctional family, it is a little bit more diabolical, because it is not your typical dysfunctional family. There's your dysfunctional family, and then there's the dysfunctional family that is headed by the narcissist and or cluster B personality. This is not your typical dysfunctional family. When the narcissist is involved in an unhealthy relationship, it is not your typical unhealthy relationship. So when we have children involved in the dysfunctional family headed by the narcissistic personality, and it doesn't matter if it's the mother or the father, doesn't matter. I mean, it matters, but it doesn't. What you're going to find more than likely is, again, the tactics for source supply tending to be a little bit more dark and diabolical, because you have children. The narcissist likes to scope for many sources of supply as possible. Unfortunately, children are the easiest targeted prey. So the narcissist is probably not going to pass that one up. So this is also why the dysfunctional family, whereas there's a narcissistic parent heading it, it is not your typical dysfunctional family. First tool, build a support base and commit to your own healing process. There isn't anyone in your family that you can save. Most of them are heavily invested emotionally in the dysfunctional family. You will be either character assassinated or turned against by family members who remain loyal to the narcissistic family member. So when you have family members who are still emotionally invested in the dysfunctional family headed by the narcissist, you're going to find, unfortunately, if you try to tell him or her or them what's really going on in the family, you're probably going to be turned against. Some of you have already experienced this, unfortunately. Most of those family members who are loyal to the narcissist, they can easily be recruited to become either flying monkeys or enablers. So by you going no contact, or you're gradually pulling away from the narcissist and the dysfunctional family, this is going to be felt, especially by those family members. They're going to notice. So those family members who will more than likely have no problem becoming either a flying monkey or an enabler, they will help the narcissist to reel you back in. I call this the 1-2 punch. That is, they will hover over your life, then they will hoover you back in. I call that, again, the 1-2 punch. I did a couple of videos about this. The narcissist will use the flying monkeys and the enablers to bring them up in the conversation. So when the flying monkeys and the enablers, who are your other family members who are loyal to the narcissist, by the way, when they're speaking to you, the narcissist will come up in a conversation. Some of you already have experienced this. This is how they hover over your life. That's the first punch. The narcissist will hover over your life. Now, what is hovering? That means to linger. Okay, that means to float over or to linger. The narcissist and the cluster B personality's first punch will be to hover over your life. They will be lingering over your life. Their presence will be felt even though they're not physically in your life. Then there's the second punch, which is the hoovering. They'll hoover you back in. First, they will make their presence known from a distance via flying monkeys and enablers. Second punch, you are hoovered back in. Next thing you know, you will be resupplying the narcissist again. What does that look like? You attending the family reunions, you visiting, you're calling. That's what the hoovering looks like. The narcissist has thrown the second punch. Now you're interacting with the dysfunctional family all over again. When the initial plan was to go no contact, I called the hovering and then the hoovering the 1-2 punch. That is a tactic that a lot of us overlook. It is so subtle. So first tool, again, build a support base. You have to commit to your own healing process. If you permit your family members who are loyal to the narcissist to become a part of your support base, guess what's going to happen? Your support base will not be a support base anymore, because the narcissist and the cluster B personality, along with other family members who are loyal to him or her, their sole interest is to make sure that you behave like you did before. They don't like this new you. They're not happy that you're healthier mentally now, that you're healthier psychologically now, that you're healthier spiritually, emotionally, so on and so forth. They're not happy for you because things are not the same. Things are not the same because you're no longer supplying them. I hope that makes sense. So I'm really rooting for you, especially my stars. I'm rooting for everybody watching this channel, but especially my stars, because I have read some of your emails. Some of you have shared your stories with me, and I understand and I resonate with what you have gone through. Okay, so again, build that support base and commit to your own healing process. Second tool, your dysfunctional family more than likely run like a cult if it was headed by the narcissist or parents with the cluster B personalities. This is not your fault. There is nothing you could have done to change this. Absolutely not, especially when you were a child. What do you think you could have done? Well, I'm here to tell you there was nothing you could do. Not because you were a bad child, not because you were cursed. No, the circumstances in the situation was that your dysfunctional family was headed by either a narcissistic parent or a parent who has a cluster B personality. So they ran that dysfunctional family like a cult. The bottom line was never clear. You had been delivered a lot of mixed messages. One day you may have felt love, the next you were confused because you didn't feel like you were loved. You probably did not really feel like you had a real seat at the table of your family. So your dysfunctional family more than likely did run like a cult. And for some of you, you probably already see that it still does. A narcissist and the cluster B personality who heads a dysfunctional family, again, their tactics tend to be a little bit more diabolical because there's children involved, and children, unfortunately, are a very easy target for prey. And if there are other adults who will not intervene on the children's behalf, then those children, unfortunately, are deemed by the narcissist as safe prey, prime for prey, and safe victims. I don't even think there's a narcissist alive that really can pass up that temptation. Whereas there's children in a dysfunctional family, because in dysfunctional families, there are not enough adults who will intervene when a child is being abused, sexually molested, where there's incest. So the narcissist and the cluster B personality, they usually cannot pass up that much temptation to obtain source supply, because those types of source supply usually are lifelong lasting. Let's move on to the third tool. Discontinue to be available for dysfunction, drama, and shenanigans when family members attempt to hoover you back in. Dysfunctional behavior patterns are very challenging to break. However, you probably are outgrowing toxic childhood relationships that threaten your overall well-being. A lot of you watching this video, you probably know already that you have simply outgrown your childhood relationships. Our childhood relationships are those relationships that we were introduced to when we were children. Guess what? That means your family. That is a childhood relationship because that's where it started. So most of us who have gone no contact from the narcissist, who may have been in a family, right? We have come to learn this. We have simply outgrown our childhood relationships, or some of them, the dysfunctional ones anyway. Okay, so when you know that you have outgrown those toxic and dysfunctional childhood relationships, those absolutely are a threat to your overall health. This is also why it's very important to at least consider going no contact. So discontinue to be available. I want to encourage everyone, especially my stars, to discontinue to be available for dysfunction, drama, and all of those shenanigans that the narcissist tosses and juggles whenever they want source supply. Family reunions, holiday gatherings, or all of those family-oriented holidays, funerals, and any social functions that the family like to do to get together. All of those are breeding grounds for source supply for the narcissist. He or she will use those particular incidences to obtain as much fuel and strong sense of control and sources of supply as possible. Discontinue to be available. That's the best way I can put that. Okay? So discontinue to be available for dysfunction of any kind. The drama and the shenanigans will not stop. So even when you're not there, those shenanigans and that drama is happening. So here's a rhetorical question. Do you really have to be around to know that the drama and the shenanigans is happening? Do you really have to be there? I think a lot of us who have gone no contact, we have come to peace with knowing that the narcissist will not change. And since we know that, it's a fair statement to make that the shenanigans and the drama goes on even in our absence. So why put yourself, this is another rhetorical question, why put yourself in the middle of it? Absolutely placing yourself in harm's way. You're also placing yourself at risk for your overall health to deteriorate. Why do that to yourself? The narcissist has already done enough damage. Don't help him or her by being available. Here are references and resources. You will find these references and resources in the description box below. I want to thank everybody for watching. I'm Luminousz Star. Wherever you are right now, I wish you the very best. Stay tuned for more videos.